welcome you to Southwest Florida. Port Charlotte with the Rays and the New York Yankees square off in Grapefruit League action. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to an afternoon of Rays baseball from spring training with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Great to have you aboard. We'll be joined by Michelle Margot throughout the afternoon as well. Just 4 days remaining in spring training leading up to opening day when the Rays take on the Red Sox at Tropicana Field. But this afternoon it will be the New York Yankees, and the Rays have a couple of bats in their lineup they're going to expect a lot from this year. They're going to need the bats from Carlos Gomez and C.J. Cron.
Yeah, really two new faces looking to help anchor this Rays lineup. And let's start with Carlos Gomez, because I'm going to tell you something right now. He brings a unique skill set to this ball club, as well as a ton of energy. You see right there with the bat flip, a ton of enthusiasm. And when you talk about that unique skill set, 133 career home runs, but also 252 career stolen bases. So there's a lot of different ways that Carlos Gomez can hurt you. I'll tell you one way that C.J. Cron can hurt you, and that is with the long ball, and that's all you need to know about the kind of power that he can produce right there. 3 home runs this spring. He's had 3 straight seasons of at least 16 home runs, and this year being out in the middle of that lineup every single day, be interesting to see the numbers he can put up.
We have a picture-perfect spring day for baseball, and we have a full lineup for you. Throughout the afternoon, we'll hear from Nathan Eovaldi in the bottom of the 4th inning, the newest member of the Rays starting rotation. We'll also chat with the Rays manager, Kevin Cash, coming up in the 5th inning, and hitting coach Chad Mottola will join our telecast in the 6th. Spring training baseball from Port Charlotte next. The Rays and the Yankees meeting. New York coming in 17-12, and the Rays come in 13-15 for the spring. Right now, let's check in with Michelle Margot.
Thank you so much, Dwayne. Yes, here with Malik Smith. Malik's pretty much the end of spring training. Just how ready are you to start the season?
You know, it's about that time. Guys been around each other in camp for about a little bit over a month now. And we're itching for, like, the stats to count, you know, and the games to matter. So everybody's pretty excited.
This time last year, you were brand new to the Rays. What do you think you learned in the past year just being with the Rays?
You know, just adjusting to the division. You know, this is a pretty tough division. And that these guys like to have fun. You know, this is a really nice group of guys and really, really fun coaching staff. So just go out and have fun and make the most of your opportunity.
As a fellow outfielder, I'm sure you can attest to the skills that Kevin Kiermaier has, but now you have guys like Carlos Gomez and Denard Span. How much fun is it watching and learning from guys like that?
Oh, it's great for me because, you know, like I'm the young guy of the group, so, you know, I ask a lot of questions. I joke with them, you know, and they're very helpful, you know. I learn a lot, and it's just been wonderful having them around, you know, just progressing my game.
From the outside looking in, how would you describe this team?
You know, we're a sleeper team, you know. But playing to wake up a lot of people.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Back to you, Dwayne.
All right, Michelle, thank you. The Rays and the Yankees just moments away from the first pitch. We'll take a look at the starting lineup for New York, presented by Papa John's. Tyler Wade's going to lead it off at second base, and Aaron Hicks, who has emerged as the everyday center fielder for New York, will hit second in front of the first baseman Tyler Austin. Billy McKinney's had a big power spring. He's in right. Austin Romine will do the catching. Ronald Torreyes at shortstop hits sixth in front of Jace Peterson. Shane Robinson is the DH, and Zach Zaner will be in left field and will bat ninth.
Well, taking the mound this afternoon for the Tampa Bay Rays going to be right-hander Andrew Kittredge. And you can see what he did a year ago for the Rays. Kind of burst onto the scene in 15 games. A very good ERA of 1.76, and really finishing this spring on a strong note. You go back his last 3 outings, he's given up 1 earned run in 6 2/3 innings, one of them being a minor league game, but certainly ending the spring like you would want to.
And he goes to the mound knowing that he has made this pitching staff coming out of spring training. This will be his 8th appearance of the spring.
Let's take a look at that Rays defense, see how it's going to line up here this afternoon. Brought to you by Golden Diamond Source. And in the outfield left to right, we've got Malik Smith, field, and Carlos Gomez you see out there in right field. And then across the infield, third to first, Matt Duffy, Echeverria, Robertson, and Crone, with Wilson Ramos behind the plate.
And there's Aaron Boone, the new manager of the New York Yankees, in his first year, first managing job. His father Bob managed in the major leagues. Not many of those father-son combinations have done that. George and Dick Sisler, and Bob and Joel Skinner. And now Bob Boone and Aaron Boone, and Kevin Cash entering his 4th season as the manager of the Tampa Bay Rays. We're all set to play baseball. Oh, what a gorgeous day. Blue skies, scattered white clouds, and Tyler Wade steps in. First pitch of this one is a bit wide, a ball, no strikes. Wade spread out up there. He's hit a little over 270 for the spring. It takes it through the middle and into center field for a base hit.
Yeah, that being spread out allows you to do just that. Not try to do too much. He's not a big power guy. He will use the middle of the field, as we just saw. Very good bat control, and he's going to get some time out there with the Yankee lineup. Get some time out at second base. See it right here. Very little on the stride. Pick it up, put it down, and shoot that ball back up the middle.
So the Yankees with a base runner to start this one on the hit by Wade, and here is Aaron Hicks. Well, Hicks, for a long time, the anticipation was that he would be an everyday player. Pops it up on the first pitch, left side, and that is handled over there. Robertson over from the second base spot to take care of that pop-up. Hicks has emerged in New York. Twins for a long time had hoped that he could play every day, and he has emerged here with the Yankees as their everyday center fielder. Here's Tyler Austin.
Well, he was able to come in and move Jacoby Ellsbury out of that spot. And obviously at different times this season going to be bookended by the big sluggers, and this is going to be an interesting year all around this division.
Boy, it is. You know, you look at what the Yankees have done, the Red Sox, and then the rest of the division, the Rays and the Orioles and the Blue Jays. It's right back into the screen. A lot of changes. You can look at every club and cite significant changes up and down. And I think everybody looks at this New York ball club as the favorite. The Red Sox, of course, have their ideas about that. And the Rays going to be an interesting team. We'll get a chance in the middle of this game to chat with Kevin Cash about some of that. There is 3 call. Nice pitch around the knees. Boston takes it, 2 gone.
Oh, that fastball by Kittredge buried on that outside corner. You could not spot this one up much better. Right on the edge. Deservedly gets the call. Yeah, no, I mean, when you look around and see, you know, obviously the Yankees were a powerful team last year, and then they bring in Stanton. Of course, that's going to add to it. Boston, you know, and even Brett Gardner said it still goes through Boston. They won the division, so they still are the team with the target on their back. The Rays kind of retooling on the fly here late coming into spring, and they're going to be a real interesting team to watch, both out in the field and as far as this pitching staff has been put together.
Yeah, and the approach that they're going to take this year. Here's Billy McKinney. Not a lot of the everyday players with the Yankees, so we're going to see some of the young players. McKinney's had an interesting spring. He's had 7 hits all spring, 5 of them home runs.
Would that qualify as all or nothing type approach?
Well, he's walked 10 times and has struck out 15. So
my goodness.
It has for sure been an all or nothing spring for McKinney.
Well, so much, that's how the game has gone. You know, this launch angle, exit velocity.
There goes the runner. The pitch is a strike and no throw down. Wade picks up his 3rd stolen base of the spring. He steals his way into scoring position.
Well, Tyler Wade, a nice job there, too, picking a perfect pitch to run on, the breaking ball. But you think about some of these approaches, and we saw it last year with the Rays. You know, franchise record in home runs, but also
didn't translate into as many runs as they would hope.
It did not. It did not.
A lot of solo home runs. And it's 1 and 2 on McKinney. And that's going to be interesting with the Rays after last year in that approach. Home run, it was a strikeout and a home run. That tended to be, in a nutshell, the offense. And early this spring, you know, they had the screens out on the infield during BP early, trying to get hitters to loft the ball, get them in that mindset. As McKinney strikes out, 2 strikeouts in the inning for Kittredge. Bottom of the 1st coming, no score.
You totaled your
Presented by Papa John's. Denard Span will lead it off. He'll be followed by Carlos Gomez, the right fielder, and then Wilson Ramos hits 3rd. C.J. Crone at 1st. Matt Duffy hits 5th. He's at 3rd. In front of the shortstop, Adeiny Echeverria. Malik Smith in left. Daniel Robertson at 2nd. And Johnny Field, the center fielder, will bat 9th.
Well, Brian Keller here for the New York Yankees is going to get the start here this afternoon, and you can see what he did a season ago in the minor leagues. 24 starts. How about 4 complete games, putting up a nice record, 11-8, 3.13, and that was divided between he was in Tampa with the Tampa Yankees and then off to Charleston. So he's getting an opportunity here late in camp to open up some eyes and impress some major league coaches as spring training comes to a close. take a quick look at the Yankee defense, see how it's going to line up. Brought to you by Golden Diamond Source. And in the outfield left to right, we have Zach Zahner, Hicks, and Billy McKinney. Across the infield third to first, Chase Peterson, Ronald Torreyes, Taylor Wade, and Tyler Austin with Austin Romine. That's a mouthful behind the plate.
And here's Denard Span to lead it off. He's had a nice spring for the Rays, hitting .320. And the veteran outfielder takes the pitch for a strike. Not only is he hitting .320, but he's driven in 11 runs, so he's been very efficient in those situations. Fouls it out of play, and it's 0-2.
Straighten up, 50-50 round, 50-50.
Span coming over from the Giants and back home.
And having a nice spring.
Yes, he is.
An average, occasional pop, good speed. And that's the thing, too. You know, got a lot of years under his belt. You get the opportunity to come back home to a new team, a new culture and atmosphere, and sometimes that lights a spark, and sometimes that gets things going.
Yeah, it's always interesting coming home, and you had a taste of that.
Yeah.
I mean, what's that like for a hitter, pitcher to come home? I would imagine there are upsides and downsides to that.
There are, and the downsides most of the time come away from the ballpark, but at the ballpark, being able to come back and play at home, it's an adrenaline rush. It's a shot of adrenaline every day, and that really is no exaggeration. You're so excited to be back home and to be able to play for the hometown team. You know, that's why you really hope that that's something that Denard Span feeds off of, and that can really springboard him to a tremendous season, because he will be jacked up to be playing back close to home for sure.
Full count now. And a nice at bat there, taking a couple close pitches and drawing the walk. So he's aboard to begin the bottom of the first inning. And then look at Carlos Gomez up there. Oh, the Rays making that move to add him after trading Steven Souza Jr. And they look at what Gomez can bring to the lineup, and they feel pretty good about that. A combination of not only, as we mentioned in the open, the spark and excitement that he'll bring, but he has some pop in his bat, plays the game hard, holds himself to that particular level of effort.
He's been in double digits in home runs every season since 2012. Can steal bags.
There goes the runner. The pitch is a ball, and the throw will sail, and a stolen base for Denard Span. He's 3 of 3 running this spring.
Oh boy, this goes back to what we were talking about in the top half of the first inning, with the Rays so reliant upon the home run. Now you start to look at them trying to create runs, and that's one way to do it. Lead off walks, some speed, and swipe it back.
Yeah, and I think we'll see a lot of that this year. And frankly, I think that's a more entertaining type of baseball.
It is. It absolutely is. There are things happening, Dwayne.
1-1. I think to try to take advantage of speed, the stolen base, you know, is going to be important. If you don't have just a thunderous lineup with tons of bats in it, you have to do things like this. And it's a little more in the traditional mold of the game, which is not all bad. 1-2.
And it's a mindset, too. It puts a team in the mindset of playing aggressively and going out there and taking the game to the other team. We're not just going to sit back and try to back leg everything for home runs. I mean, there's going to be times where that happens for this Rays lineup, but other times they're going to have to push the action and put pressure on that defense.
Gomez down in the count, trying to give the Rays an early lead here. It's a one hop to the right side. That will advance Span. Wade throws out Gomez. Well, any way you look at it, there's been a lot already said about the Rays with all the moves they made and now what they plan to do with the pitching staff, and they're going to opening with a 4-man rotation. Not altogether unusual, but to keep it beyond the first month plus is what they apparently have decided to do. It's the plan anyway. And so that has created a lot of conversation. So there's going to be a lot said about this team, and it's going to be kind of interesting to watch it. The Yankee infield pulled up with Ramos here. The pitch is a strike. So I think there are a lot of storylines this year that will be interesting to follow with this team.
It will not be boring. That is absolutely for sure. And to be able to do that with the rotation through the first 38, 39 games of the season, and with the plan being that maybe it's something that you do all year long, that does give you a nice sample size to determine, is this working?
Yep.
Or do we need to readjust and head the more traditional route with 5 regular starters? They have that luxury because all the off days.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to extend it beyond the first 38 games, 38 days, and all those days off, the 8 days off there. Fly ball back into left. That's going to be plenty deep to score the run. The tag by Span, and the Rays will take the lead. And they manufactured a run, turned a walk into a run with a steal. Ball hit to the right side to get him to third, and a fly ball to get him home.
Created runs. And there's the first one of the day.
Is this really 2018? The kind of baseball they play?
It's throwback. Throwback day here at the ballpark.
Got everything except the uniforms on that first run of the game. So 2 gone with the bases empty. Here's C.J. Crone. Pitch pretty close. Ball 1.
No, another one of the big acquisitions, and I mean big acquisitions by this Rays franchise.
Well, we talked about him a little bit last week in the telecast, and Paul Sorrento, who'd been a coach out in Los Angeles with the Angels, and of course a former Tampa Bay Devil Ray back in those days, and his feeling on Crone is you just turn him loose, let him be who he's going to be, and here's a 30 home run guy.
But why not? I mean, when you look at his size and the fact that he can cover, how about this?
Yeah, that's going to drop in there, and then every once in a while you drop one of those in.
Well, listen, you got to respect the power. You got to play those outfielders deep, Dwayne. The big swing, ball catches off the label, and he soft serves one in there. But when you think about the fact that we know that he's got the power to all fields, and he's going to be out there in the lineup, Kevin Cash is going to allow him to get into a rhythm of, maybe not everyday playing time, but certainly he's going to be out there enough to get into those rhythms. Who knows what he's capable of? There's no reason that he couldn't double that.
Now Matt Duffy at third base.
When I say double that, I mean the 16 that he hit a year ago. That was in 100 games, and he's hit 16 in 3 straight seasons, but you figure he's going to get more ABs this season with the Rays and more opportunities to get things rolling.
Duffy 311 on the spring with 5 runs driven in. Well, there's the last 3 years or so for C.J. Crone, 16 home runs in each of those years. The one thing you also know, you're going to get a power bat from him, but you're going to get a serious student of the game and great effort from him. But he sees this as an opportunity to grab and run with. And boy, that can be a motivator in and of itself for a player to come into a situation where he's going to get a chance to get a lot of at-bats. There's a base hit through the left side. Crone will stop at second. So the Rays with 2 men on and a couple outs with a run home.
Matt Duffy keeping things rolling here. 3-hit ball game yesterday, then finds the 5-6 hole here. Breaking ball hangs a little much, weight back just enough, and then pop that ball through the left side.
Oh, Danny Echeverria with 2 men on and 2 men out. I don't know if that 261 season, 341 for the spring. Pitch darts down, 1 ball, no strikes. Rays facing right-hander Brian Keller on the hill. Keller, born in Milwaukee, went to the University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee, and drafted by the Yankees. Chopper foul back at first up the right side. The Yankees have not seen a lot of Keller, as you mentioned. He split the season between the low minors last year, but the Yankees think Keller has a great feel for pitching.
Well, we've already seen, the fastball, slider, curveball. Big kid, had a good run of success a season ago. We mentioned that he had 24 starts, 4 of them were complete games. And think about this too, low minors a year ago, and getting an opportunity here in big league camp. A lot of times it doesn't go that quickly for guys, and this is a big jump for him, and you get the exposure of seeing what big league hitters are capable of, and also you get to open some eyes.
Lifted into center. Hicks will come on over from left in front of Hicks. Zaner is there to make the catch in shallow center field, retiring the Rays. They pick up the first run of the ball game. Couple of hits and 2 men left for the Rays in the first inning. Take a look at that defensive work in the outfield to end it. We go to the second, 1-0 Rays. WB Mason. Who but WB Mason, the official office supply company of the Tampa Bay Rays. And by Papa John's. Rays with a run in the first. We go to the second inning here. Rays and the Yankees. Andrew Kittredge on the hill for the Rays, and he'll face Austin Romine to begin the inning. Fly ball center field, and Johnny Field right in line. Short center takes care of that. Kittredge starting his second inning, and he's pitched at least 2 innings in 4 of his last 5 spring outings, including 2 2/3 his last time out. And that's by design, with the nod toward the plan that we talked about. The Rays looking to have in this rotation a 4-man starting rotation, and then a bullpen day in the mix.
Well, and you know what? You're going to see that bullpen day on Saturday.
6 days from now, you know, you're going to start off the season obviously with Chris Archer, and then you've got Blake Snell, then a bullpen day.
Yep.
And so it's going to be unveiled rather quickly, and you're going to have a number of guys, as you mentioned, that are capable of going multiple innings, Kittredge being one of them. Nathan Eovaldi, he'll start in game 4, I believe, of that series.
Torreyes down in the count, throwing his bat there. Well, there's the breakout. Interesting that Chris Archer and Chris Sale both had little scary moments in their last outings in the spring, but they appear to be okay and set to go Thursday in the opener. Snell and Price, two big lefties right there going at it. Then the bullpen day, game 3 of that series against Rick Porcello, and Eovaldi will pitch the Sunday game against Boston. Chopped to third. Right there is Duffy. He throws a strike to first, and Torreyes is out number 2.
Now this team will be tested right out of the gate. When you think about the Boston Red Sox winning the division a season ago, and obviously with Giancarlo Stanton going to New York, they go out and sign J.D. Martinez, one of those. Everybody figured that they were going to sign him, but it took a lot longer than I think most people thought.
There's Peterson. He checked that time. 1 ball, no strikes. Yeah, so that first series is going to be interesting anyway, with the great pitching matchups, and it's the opening series of the season. But that third game, I mean, that'd be interesting to see what happens.
You know, 2 things. First of all, you've got the Rays side of things with the bullpen day and how that's going to be pieced together by, you know, Kevin Cash and Kyle Snyder. But then on the other side, Rick Porcello, you know, the Boston Red Sox brought Derek Lowe into camp this year to work with Porcello in going back to that sinker. You know, the last couple of years.
Away from it.
Yes, he did.
It was good enough for a Cy Young a couple of years ago. Let's not use that anymore.
No.
It's too good.
Right. Sometimes you get maybe a little too cute, a little too smart. You know, he did have some success. The strikeout numbers went up as he started to elevate that fastball. But I think it would be extremely difficult, and obviously we saw that play out, to be able to elevate the ball when you want to and also be able to sink it with the kind of efficiency that he was able to do before. And so all of a sudden here comes Derek Lowe into camp to help him work on getting that pitch back. And so we'll see if Porcello has evolved a little bit once again.
Yeah, you know, that opening series tells you that if you're in the American League East, you better be ready from day one. I mean, right out of the chute.
Yep.
I mean, you're fully immersed.
Yes. Well, and think about the Rays' first week and a half of the season. You're going to go right from there. You're going to shoot up to New York, play these guys, and then head over Boston again.
And then go to Chicago to play the White Sox. And you know what? The White Sox are going to be an interesting team. You know, who knows how many games they're going to win. I mean, nobody knows about any teams right out of the chute, but you know, they could be an interesting team. And so the Rays, when you look at the Rays schedule starting, it's going to be a challenge. Boston, the Yankees, Red Sox again, White Sox, and then the Phillies. And some people think the Phillies could surprise over in the National League. A little chop down to first. Crone takes care of that. It's a 1-2-3 second. We're through an inning and a half. The Rays with the only run of the game. And Michelle will chat with Rays GM Eric Neander when we come back. Let's check in with Michelle.
Thanks, Dwayne. Well, it is the last couple days that we can pick the brain of Rays general manager Eric Neander before the regular season starts. So, Eric, last couple days to solidify that big league roster. How many borderline guys were there this year?
Quite a few. And today we started to really narrow it down, and we have near our 25-man roster at this point. And we sent out some experienced pitchers that have had major league success and a good track record under them, in part because of some young guys that have come through our system have kind of forced our hand a little bit. So those are difficult conversations, especially when you're talking about the pitchers in particular that very much are major league pitchers. But it's part of it, and part of why we're excited about our future are those young pitchers.
What have you seen out of new acquisitions, C.J. Cron and Carlos Gomez, and how do you think they'll be utilized this year?
Veterans that have the life experiences underneath them that can be really helpful to our young guys. But the mentorship part of it, the character, the teammate quality of that is all good. But they can also play, and their right-handed offense is something we need. Those guys we're counting on to be a big part of that, and they fit in well. The chemistry's there, and we think both of those guys can play.
Chris Archer takes the ball on opening day again. Tell us from your perspective why he's the one to do it.
Well, I think he's been the one to do it for a few years here, and there's nothing that we've seen that would suggest at this point that he deserves to have that taken away from him. The example he sets with how he works and the talent, it's as good as we have. As much as we're excited about some of the other guys and Blake and Eo and the guys that are there and Faria and what they've shown, Arch has led the way, and want him to continue to be that guy for us.
You and I have discussed the implementation of the four-man rotation, but how does that change the configuration of the bullpen?
Well, I think to do it responsibly, you have to carry more length. You have to have more multiple inning options out there, not just for them to be able to provide it any given day, but so they're not, a multi-inning guy and a short guy. So, we're looking at it where we're going to have 4 options out there that can carry real length for us. And can provide that to make sure, it's not a 4-man rotation pitching every 4th day. The 4 starters are still going to go on largely a similar schedule to what they have in the past. Just think with some of the young talent we have, want to get them broken in a way that's a little bit different, but it does, like I said, it's probably 4 shortish guys, and 4 guys that can provide length. We have that, and it does change the dynamics of our pen and led to some of the decisions we made with the staff today.
Well, thank you so much. I'll let you get back to watching this game.
All right, thank you.
Back to you, Dwayne.
All right, Michelle, thank you. And thanks to Eric for spending a little time there. 1 out, base is empty, and Daniel Robertson lifts the first pitch into right. Billy McKinney is there, and he makes the catch. So 2 outs. Well, the logistics of executing this idea will involve not only the big league club, but the AAA club. And that's going to be interesting, too. It adds a dimension. We like to keep an eye on the pitching staff and, who's ready, who's maybe down for a day or so. We're actually going to have to keep our eye on what's going on at Durham to know who's ready if they need to make a call for someone to come up, if for some reason they get into a situation where maybe a starter doesn't go as deep into the game as they'd like.
Yeah, and those are the things that it's tough to plan for that, because you assume your starters are going to do the job each and every time they go out there, but through circumstances maybe not even of their own doing, outings get shortened, pitch counts get too high, a guy comes out, that means you got to go to the bullpen a little bit earlier than you would have hoped to, and all of a sudden that becomes a bullpen day. Oh, by the way, there's a real bullpen day. Nice bear.
Look at that grab by Keller. Talk about having a feel for it. He's got a feel for pitching now with that barehanded pickup. He throws outfield. Keller to Austin. Light on his feet. And what a grab. 1-0 Rays. Have a 1-0 lead as we move into the third from Port Charlotte. Shane Robinson, the DH, leads it off for New York as Andrew Kittredge goes back to the mound to begin the third inning. Robinson, the number 8 hitter, is after the first pitch and fouls it back. Kittredge, a couple strikeouts in the first inning. Wade picked up a base hit up the middle in the first. And then Kittredge retired Hicks, Austin, and McKinney. And a 1-2-3 second inning. And there's a strike on that outside part of the plate. He's made some good pitches, and that's an example of one right there.
Yeah, you know, for the most part, Andrew Kittredge gets things done with the fastball and the slider, and good fastball command here for the most part.
Down to third, into the glove of Duffy and across to Crone.
And see, that combo of pitches leads to that ground ball right there. You go fastball down and away at the knees on the corner, and then a breaking ball slider right off of that, and you force that hitter's hand. Now he's got to swing to try to cover with 2 strikes, and he ends up rolling over one there to third base.
So to locate and be ahead in the count if you're a pitcher.
Boy, I'll tell you, that is the name of the game, and I know that, you know, much like the long ball in today's game, stuff has played such a huge role in pitchers. You know, you've got the big power arms, but boy, oh boy, if you can still spot pitches around the zone where you want to, going to lead to success.
And the first pitch strike here to the Yankee left fielder.
If you can do both, then you go to Cooperstown.
And if you can do it for a long time,
right,
over a long period of time, then you're in there. That's a ball, says Mike Wiseman, who is calling the balls and strikes of this game. 2-1.
Well, the other thing I like here, what we're seeing from Kittredge, is he's not wasting a whole lot of time. Get it, throw it. Listen, I got 2 pitches. I'm going to pick one, attack the zone. I already talked, for the most part, he's been very efficient. Good location.
And the count's going to go full. Top of the order, Tyler Wade will be next. Rays a couple games under 500 for the spring, so they're going to need to win 2 of their last 3 games in Grapefruit League action here to get to the 15-win mark. Strike 3 called, and that's the 3rd strikeout. And with the top of the order due up and 2 outs, the base is empty. Kevin Cash hopping out of the dugout to make the pitching change. So for the 2nd time this spring, Kittredge pitches 2 2/3.
Buying your first.
Reminder, Rays fans get a chance to experience a blast from the past Saturday when the Rays play host to the Red Sox. Fans receive a 1998 replica seat cushion presented by GTE Financial while supplies last. Visit RaysBaseball.com for more info. Rays up Kittredge very sharp today and making this bullpen day start.
Well, we talked coming in that his last 3 outings have been very, very good. And he just continued to build off that here today. That slider right there, you could say, listen, that ball was left up in the zone a little bit, but that was coming after a 2-2 slider that he bounced, came back, made the adjustment, froze the hitter, and ends the day on a high note.
So 32 pitches, 2 2/3, 3 strikeouts, a walk, and no runs. And Ryan Yarbrough, who was told today he has made the staff, and so he sees some action following the right-hander Kittredge.
How exciting for these young pitchers, knowing that you're going to make the opening day roster. Such a thrill, such an accomplishment. And also fully understanding what their role is going to be.
And that's a strike, 0-2. And this is one of the things the Rays like about Yarbrough. Left-hander, he's not overpowering, but he throws strikes.
And as long as they're quality, he will get big outs. And that's what he's been able to do. We saw his numbers from a season ago. Put up a tremendous year at Durham.
And this is exactly how the Rays hope these things work out. They've had the right-hander Kittredge go through the lineup. He faced 9 men.
Yeah.
And now they make a change. They got a left-handed hitter leading off in the lineup for the Yankees, so he's due up now. They bring the lefty in to face him.
You know, and you assume that then Yarbrough tries to go through the lineup one time. It's too early in the game for Aaron Boone to make any kind of changes to combat that. So, you know, you have a right-hander out of the bullpen starting the game. Maybe the opposing team decides to stack their lineup with lefties. Well, you better get off to a hot start, because then here comes Yarbrough, or you know, another lefty, whoever it may be. Alvarado, obviously he's going to be a later inning guy, but you get a guy like Yarbrough to come in there that second time through, and all of a sudden the lefties are in trouble. And I guarantee you that when you sit these guys down that are going to be in that multi-inning role coming out of the bullpen, they're telling them, empty the tank. There's no reason to pace yourself. You're going to go through the lineup one time, empty the tank one time through the lineup.
Ooh, pretty close right there. I think Yarbrough thought he might have had the corner, and the count is full. So he got ahead, trying to work around the edges, and this one is very close.
A good angle on that heater. Wiseman has it low.
Fly ball, center field. Field angles back to make the catch. 1-2-3. Go the Yankees. We're headed into the bottom of the third. We'll hear from Nathan Eovaldi when we return. Nothing. While Raymond goes through some of his spring training moves, let's go downstairs once again to Michelle.
Thanks, Dwayne. Here with Nathan Eovaldi. Nathan, you spent 2017 recovering from your second Tommy John surgery, so the first time that you've thrown in games in spring training for a couple of years now. How have you been feeling?
I've been feeling great. Yeah, I mean, everything's been coming out really well, and You know, coming back from the Tommy John surgery, it was a nice, smooth process for me, but I'm excited to be back.
2 different Tommy John surgeries. How do you compare the 2?
I mean, the first one was in high school, so I would just say both of the surgeries were a lot different. I mean, it's hard to really compare the 2. They're the whole rehab process. I mean, once you get through the first month or so, it's a lot different. So, I mean, I definitely feel a lot stronger this second time through, and I'm ready to go.
What's the bigger challenge, the mental aspect or the physical aspect?
I think it's the mental part, the mental side of it. The mental side, once you come back, I would say the mental side going through the first part of the surgery. The first month or so, it's just getting the flexion and the range of motion and everything back like that. And then after that, it's just getting the strength and coming back and staying strong.
Now, to go through it twice, I would imagine that it takes a toll. Why have you kept going?
I love the game. I love playing. I love going out there and competing and helping the team win.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Dwayne, back to you.
Lee, a member of the Rays starting rotation, coming back from the Tommy John surgery. Rehabbed that last year here with the Rays. Denard Span at first with a base hit. He's on for the second time today. Carlos Gomez at the plate with a 1-0 count.
Yeah, and how nice for Nathan to have that season. You know, for the Rays to bring him in on a 2-year deal, knowing that you don't have to rush through that first year. And while it can be a mental grind, and I completely agree with him, having gone through that surgery a couple times and actually, you know, never coming back from it like he has. But mentally, it's such a grind. But knowing that you've got that 2-year deal and you can take your time, hit all the markers, get everything done properly in year 1, and now be able to hit the ground running in year 2. What a bonus for him.
You know, I've always imagined that if you go through that, you know, once or twice, I mean, twice is, you know, more than enough. Once is enough. But coming through that, now you've gone through the rehab process and you gradually get to a point where you think, I can turn it loose. I mean, you're looking for that day, but how do you feel leading up to that day? I mean, that's a big jump to take.
Apprehensive.
Yeah.
And that's where you have to trust your training staff. You have to trust the work that you're putting in and the milestones that you are reaching and then surpassing. And when you're able to do that, it's a lot easier.
Oh, a long one to left. Hit deep all the way back and gone. Denard Span had a great break off first, and Gomez just hit one out on a 2-0 pitch. Carlos Gomez has unloaded his 3rd home run of the spring, and the Rays take a 3-0 lead.
At the top of the lineup, getting it done here in the early going for the Rays. It was the walk and then manufacturing a run the first time through, and then a base hit and then a slam here. Carlos Gomez, and that's what he brings to the table. He's a guy that can shoot balls out like that. He's got good speed for a big man. Flexing his muscles here this afternoon.
Save away, CJ.
Ramos skies it into shallow center field. Hicks is there to make the catch. Yeah, you know, the 2 at-bats Gomez has had. First time, he advanced a guy from second to third by hitting it to the right side of the infield. Then ahead in the count, he got a pitch to hit out. Great count, great pitch, and boy, did he put the lumber to the baseball that time.
Situational hitting, and I think that's an area that the Rays struggled with a season ago. When you look at just the overall numbers, you know, with runners in scoring position, but even beyond that, just moving runners, giving themselves a runner at third less than 2. And he shows you that veteran versatility to get it done in both ways.
The popper short left. Zander got a late start and now bobbles it. Crone's going to dig for second, and he's in there safely. Ball dropping just out of the reach of Correa's, headed out from short, and Crone winds up at second. So some good base running aware of where the defenders were and where that ball was headed.
Well, he's going to the Kevin Kiermaier School of Base Running, and that is the ball off the bat. If it's not going to leave the yard, you assume you're going for a double, and C.J. Crone heads up there, not content with that ball dropping in, but he hustles his way out for a double here in the third inning.
So that puts Crone in scoring position for Duffy. Duffy singled through the hole between short and third his first time up.
Come on, Duff! Get a big gun, Duffy!
Neil, Crone's gotten him twice today. The big swings, deep outfield.
Yep.
He was able to fool Z squared on that last one out there and left.
Well, you got to respect your power.
That's exactly right. And that's why when you look at some of the offensive numbers over the years coming from Coors Field, certainly the ball's going to jump and carry, and you're going to get your home runs and your gappers. But because that outfield is so big and you've got to play those outfielders so deep, all of a sudden the batting averages start to creep up because of balls like that that are going to fall in.
Yep. Little roller to third. Peterson makes the play on that one. Crone still at second with 2 gone.
And trying to go back to that 5-6 hole. This time they had it covered up.
Hey, speaking of turf, Tropicana Field will have new turf, and I got just a peek at it the other day. It looks good.
Tell me.
Yes.
Yeah, I did not know that they were going to do that once again and change the turf out at Tropicana Field, but I've heard wonderful things about it.
Yeah, the shade of green is a little deeper, more of, I think, a baseball feel or look. So that'd be good. So we're looking forward to that. And Echeverria takes a strike on the outer part of the plate.
I love a baseball field that looks like one.
Yeah,
big fan.
Uh-oh, look out off the railing there in front of the dugout. 2 strikes. This seems right that it should.
It's just the big leagues. I tell you what, the changes that have been made over the years at Tropicana Field, and you can say what you want about the facility, but you really can't do much more with it than this group has. I can remember playing back there early 2000s when they were the Devil Rays and they had that olive drab green. And going into that building was depressing. It was so dark and dingy. And I think at this point, you've spruced it up about as much as you can.
Yeah, they made it fun, I think.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, for what is, I mean, it's a fixed structure. I mean, they're doing the best they can with it. They've done an awful lot.
High shot deep into left center field off the bat of Echeverria, and that one is out of here. Long blast to left center for Danny Echeverria, and the Rays playing long ball in the 3rd inning. Echeverria's 2nd home run of the spring. Crone scores in front of him, and the Rays with a pair of 2-run home runs make it 5-0.
We saw a lot more of this from Echeverria the longer his stint was lasting with the Rays. You know, he came over as a guy, you know, they have a reputation of, you know, occasionally he's going to pop the ball out, but a lot of singles, not too many extra base hits, and he really started to open it up, and we saw more and more of that ball being driven off his bat as the season ended a year ago, and obviously right there.
So Echeverria with the home run. Alex Smith off the end of the bat puts him down 2 strikes.
One of those guys that has bought into the launch angle, getting the ball airborne. And I gotta be honest, that cannot be easy for every hitter who has made their way to the big leagues with one style of hitting. And now all of a sudden we're gonna start to tweak that and make that adjustment on the fly, tweak the swing a little bit at this level. Can't be easy.
Yep. Alex Smith picking up his first hit. The Rays have 5 hits in the inning, 7 in the game, and Daniel Robertson becomes the 8th hitter to step in here in the bottom of the 3rd for the Rays. Robertson lifted a fly ball to right his first time. Takes the first pitch strike. Robertson started the day hitting .289 in Grapefruit League play. Alex back in at first. Alex with great speed, and if you ask him, he'll be honest about his base running, and that it's still a work in progress.
Yeah,
there are techniques to be added to great speed that makes you a great base runner and a great base stealer.
Well, you can see already right there an aggressive lead, a little bit of a flinch, and you're right. Not everybody that runs well is a good base stealer, and Alex Smith runs extremely well. And still working on perfecting that craft, because there are nuances to it.
He's off. Pitch is a ball, and the throw bounces away. He's going to hang on there at second. So he picks up the stolen base. It's his 4th steal in 7 attempts this spring.
Well, when you are able to get a jump like that with a big lead, you force the opposition to have to be perfect. A perfect release by the catcher and a perfect throw, catch, and tag. Yankees not able to execute it there.
On 1 to Robertson. Two balls, 1 strike. Yankees play the outfield around to the right side for Robertson. He rolls this one foul. 2-2.
Straighten it out, Daniel. Come on now.
Well, Robertson is going to give Kevin Cash a lot of options and a lot of versatility within that infield. You can envision him playing, well, we've already seen him play over at second base, short third. Probably could play first base if he needed to.
Holds the count at 2-2. Yeah, he really loves second base and thinks that might be his best spot, but you're right. He can play all over the infield. You can stick him in the outfield. He worked some in the outfield this spring.
Would you remember when that really took off with Ben Zobrist?
Yep.
And now every team is looking for this type of player. And you know what? More than one of them. Versatility where they can mix and match, maximize their roster, move guys around. Again, that's another skill. Not real easy to be able to go out and react to balls off the bat in the outfield. And then, oh, by the way, let's move in and turn double plays in the middle infield.
A 2-2 count. Hot shot to third, skips away from Peterson. Smith will go to third. Robertson hit the ball hard, and it ricocheted over in front of the shortstop Torres. And so the Rays have sent 8 men to the plate. Here's another look at that hot shot down to third base. And that's going to be it. The Yankees will make a pitching change. Back in a moment.
This charming
your Southern Chevy dealers. And by Outback. Enjoy the bold flavors of Outback at home. Now delivering. Ron Keller departs. He's been touched for 8 hits in 2 2/3. A couple of home runs coming in this inning. It's been a 4-run inning so far. The Rays have scored 5 off Keller, and Brady Lale is the new pitcher.
Well, 10 2/3 innings here with the Yankees. Spring training, 12 strikeouts, numbers from a season ago.
They divided the year between Scranton and Trenton last year. And now Johnny Field. This pitch is a strike.
It's a perfect baseball name, huh? Unless your name was Johnny Baseball. You got Johnny Football.
That's right.
Johnny Field. It's one of those names you have to live up to, especially if you choose the sport.
That's right. You have to be a good glove man.
Either that or you lose, no question about that, or you drop the Y.
Yeah.
You just become John Field, Esquire. You're going to keep the Y, you better ball.
Ready, Johnny. Here he comes, Johnny.
2 strikes the count. And he is out on strikes to retire the side. 9 men come to the plate for the Rays. They score 4 times 2. Coming on a home run by Carlos Gomez on a 2-0 pitch. And then Adeiny Echeverria behind in the count. Hits one out to left center. The Rays lead 5-0. Second of the spring, followed a 2-run home run from Carlos Gomez. And with that, a 4-run third. We go to the 4th, and the Rays have built a 5-0 lead. And Aaron Hicks ready to lead off the 4th for New York. Ryan Yarbrough took over, got the final out in the 3rd. And there's a strike to Hicks. Yarbrough pitched in the game Wednesday, started the game against the Red Sox, pitched 3 innings in that one, gave up a run, a couple of hits through 59 pitches, and he's ahead of Hicks 0-2.
And for some of these guys like Yarbrough, you're going to have to come up with a consistent plan of action to get ready to come into a ball game. You know, as a starting pitcher now in this ball game, coming in as a relief pitcher, started a year ago. And now making that transition out of the pen, it's not the same kind of warm-up, and a lot of times you're just not afforded the same luxury of how long you get to warm up.
Yeah, and that's something that I would think, and you can speak to this being a pitcher yourself. You're going to be in a new role. So you're going to have to figure out what really does work for you. You're in sort of uncharted territory here to figure out how you got to make yourself be ready.
And the one plus side for Ryan Yarbrough and the other starters that are making this transition is that he's had all of spring training to try to figure that out.
Yep.
You know, certainly he has started some games, but he's also come in to ball games in relief, and so you figure out a routine. And, you know, sometimes it's got to be quicker than others. You talk to the veterans, the guys that have done it for a long time, and ask them what works for them.
You know, that's always the case if you've been a young pitcher and maybe you're sent to the bullpen. Now you have to figure out how to get ready, and you always hope that you have at least one veteran there who you can sit down with and pick his brain about how do you prepare to be ready out of the bullpen.
You know, I can remember my first extended time of working out of the bullpen was in the 1997 ALCS against the Orioles, and all of a sudden Mike Hargrove added me to the roster, you know, after the division series, said you're going to go to the bullpen and be ready from pitch number 1. I'm not sure how I'm going to use you. And so going out there and having never done it before, I'm pacing like a madman the first couple innings of the first game. I remember sitting down next to Eric Plunk and asking him, how do you do this for 162 games? I'm exhausted. And this is my 3rd inning, you know. And then all of a sudden they start telling you about their routine, how they stretch, what you do once you get up and start, you know, pitching. And once you get on that mound and establish the fastball right away.
Yeah, you're making that decision and that transition not in spring training.
No.
In the postseason.
Well, yeah, that was a little different. Although, you know, adrenaline carries you through a lot of that stuff. But yeah, you talk about learning on the fly. There was no question there was an adjustment period for sure.
2-2 the count on Tyler Austin.
You see these guys, and sometimes that phone rings and they get you up and they're giving you the you know, finger over finger action, like you got to speed this thing up and roll it out there quick. And it becomes establishing that fastball. Then if you have the time, you work down the ladder to the breaking ball, maybe a changeup if you're really afforded some time. But you got to get the arm going.
Yeah, I guess if you're in the playoffs, you've had the full season to figure out if you've got the feel for a pitch.
That's absolutely
I mean, that's really what you're going to have to rely on.
Yeah.
If you're making a change that fast in that high pressure situation. Strike 3 called, and Austin out looking for the 2nd time today. So back-to-back strikeouts for Yarbrough.
And Sharp working his pitches around the zone, throwing strikes, keeping these hitters off balance, and all of a sudden catching that outside corner. May not have been where it was designed to go, but worked out nonetheless.
Well, Billy McKinney, strong left-handed hitter. That's a little foul ball. McKinney started his pro career in the Oakland organization. Spent some time in the Cub organization as well. Now trying to work his way up the ladder with the Yankees. High foul that carries out of play. Well, you can see in that swing, you know, there's some easy power that this guy has. It's power and then swing and miss and draw a few walks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the swing he's at.
Well, you hit enough home runs, you get guys' attention. All of a sudden, they start working the fringes of the strike zone, so you are going to get some walks. Strong lower half, that's where it starts.
And strike 3 is called. 3 strikeouts in the inning for Yarbrough. On to the bottom of the fourth, 5-0 Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay Rays spring.
Fourth inning with the Rays holding a 5-0 lead. Don't miss any of the excitement opening day when the Rays begin the 2018 season, presented by Tampa General Hospital. Rays take on the Red Sox. That's Thursday, March 29th. And all fans receive a schedule magnet and 20th anniversary cowbell presented by Tropicana. All of that while supplies last. Visit RaysBaseball.com today. Rays up. Opening day. Chris Archer against Chris Sale.
Do you like the Thursday open?
Yeah, I do. 4 o'clock start.
Yep.
Get it going. It'll be a full day. Get the ballpark early. I think the pregame's an hour long.
Got to get you ready.
Yep.
Set up and ready to go. I read somewhere they said that it's the first time in 50 years that every team will start the season on the same day.
Yeah, how about that? Well, the bottom of the fourth inning underway. Pitch is down a bit. It's 1-1. It's a foul out of play, and it's 1-1. So Tristan Gray up here. Denard Span initially was in this leadoff spot, had a walk, stolen base, a single, and 2 runs scored, and now Gray makes his first plate appearance. So the Rays starters getting 3 innings in. A roller to the third base side. Peterson the pickup on the run, and the throw is in time. Gray is out of there.
Well, that was good hustle down the line from Gray as that ball was kind of rattling around in that glove. Getting some pats there from his teammates. Yeah, that's the one thing that we've seen really down to a man on this Rays team, and obviously making its way and seeping through the organization, is getting out of the batter's box with good effort. You know, how many at-bats are you going to have?
Here's Josh Lowe sending one toward the line and right for a base hit. McKinney cuts it off, and Lowe's in there at second with the double.
Oh, there you go. Come out of the batter's box hot, drop that ball into the outfield, and end up with an extra base hit.
So 1-out double. Here's Wilson Ramos. Ramos picked up a run batted in with a sacrifice fly in the first inning. officially 0 for 1 on the day. Takes the pitch for a strike.
Oh, Wilson Ramos going to get the opportunity for a full season. Hasn't had that in a couple of years. A full spring training.
And a takedown. 1-1.
Always tough, like a season ago, to come into the meet up with the team midway through and try to hit the ground running and be productive and get into a good routine. It's tough to do it at the major league level. I don't care how long you've tried to rehab and come back.
Ooh, up and in a bit. 2-1. Yeah, if you miss first couple months of a season and then try to catch up, boy, you talk about being behind the 8 ball.
Yep.
That's tough to do.
And you think about how productive he was with the Nationals before going down with that injury at the end of 2016. Start to envision maybe have the chance to have him do that again. Certainly know that he has the power. There's no question about that. He is a solidly built man. Well, listen, your nickname's the Buffalo. You'd better be.
Yep. Well, we talked about Gomez supplying some power and Crone, who's on deck. Put Ramos in there as well. It's a little close, and the count is full. Chopper, third base side foul. We'll see another 3-2 pitch. And he draws a walk. Almost heads to first. Runners at first and second for C.J. Crone, and 1 out. And for Crone today, he has a single and a double. He's taking advantage of this Yankee outfield playing him deep. And he dropped a couple in there.
Opportunity here to pick up another RBI or 2, possibly 3 with his power.
And he let it loose that time. Showed you that big swing.
Well, you've got guys out there begging to be driven in, and you get a first pitch fastball down the heart of the plate. It's about what you'd expect.
1 ball, 1 strike. Driven in 11 runs this spring. 3 home runs. Crone homered early in the spring in a game against Minnesota, and then was robbed a couple times, and then recently has hit a couple out. He hit one day before yesterday against Toronto and one against Boston the day before that. And these power hitters will do that. They'll heat up and find themselves in a hot stretch. One just fouled, and the count is 2-2. Scored 5 off Keller. They lead 5-0 in the bottom of the 4th. And the count is full. Keller pitched 2 2/3. Lale came on. Got the final out in the third when the Rays sent 9 men to the plate, and now the Rays threaten against him in the fourth. And a big cut to miss. He strikes out Crone. Well, 2 gone with 2 men on. Matt Duffy is due. And the Yankees are going to make a pitching change. So we'll see the third New York pitcher when we return. New season of Friday night parties at Tropicana Field beginning this Friday when the Rays meet the Red Sox. Visit your local 7-Eleven and pick up a coupon for a $7.11 ticket. Also enjoy $5 Buds and Bud Lights on the Budweiser porch. Visit RaysBaseball.com/specials. Rays up. Adonis Rosa, pitcher number 3 for the Yankees, and he will inherit runners at first and second with 2 gone to face Matt Duffy.
Well, did a little bit of everything a season ago. You see, appeared in 26 games, half of them starts, 111 2/3, and he's got a couple of runners aboard.
Well, Duffy 1 out of 2. He lined a single into left his first time. Grounded out third to first in the third. Takes the first pitch strike.
Well, that's one.
An early little get-together with Romine.
Yep.
And Rosa.
It looked like that ball coming out of the hand was a changeup, some version of the changeup, and I'm not sure that's exactly what Romine was expecting.
One and one.
I like the new graphic the boys have been working on down in the truck. The mound visits remaining. That's something that you're going to have to keep an eye on this season. It did seem at time a year ago that they had gotten excessive in certain games.
Yeah, and what they hope to do is to put some common sense in that as to what constitutes a mound visit.
Oh,
you
no.
know, for a catcher.
Oh, no.
Now, a catcher apparently can stand up and step out in front of the plate and yell stuff back and forth.
Right.
But if he leaves that dirt portion, then he's in danger of being in charge of the mound visit. Little one hopper into right. That will drive in the run. Duffy flares it the other way. The Rays add to their lead. The run is charged to Lale. Lowe scores. Ramos stops at second. And Duffy is aboard, driving in his 6th run of the year.
Boy, a little inside out on the swing there. Soft serve right out into right field. That ball staying on the inner half of the plate. Duffy able to fight it off into right field, drive in a run. The Rays add on.
Hey, here's another mound visit. See, look at that.
I wish the telestrator was up for this game.
There you go. And the plate umpire letting people know, hey, there's a mound visit.
Well, I had heard too that last year the average major league game had, I think, a little over 7 mound visits per game. So it's not going to be a huge
There
deal.
you go. This is all you need to know right here. Covers all the mound visits. 6 per team. Then you get into extra innings, you get more.
1 per. Make it count. Well,
seems like a lot of work just to get 1 extra mound visit per inning. Extra innings.
Yeah.
Let's do it in 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, get it done.
Just get it done. That is the whole point.
2-1 the count on Echeverria.
Well, Rob Manfred, you know, when he came out with the pace of play initiatives, did not go all the way, because there was talk, you know, I think for the first little while of the offseason that there'd be a pitch clock come into play, and decided to not go that route, not as of yet anyway.
Yeah, and the Players Association not happy about that. They're not in favor of that.
There's a whole lot right now that the Players Association is not happy with. Did not have a very good offseason.
Yep. Well, there'll be a lot to talk about during the season about the season itself, but time of game and all of that. Fly ball to center field. We might be saved here by this out. Caught by Hicks. The Rays pick up 1 run, and we'll chat with Kevin Cash when we come back. Rays up in this game. The top of the 5th inning, and we're pleased to have Kevin Cash, the Rays manager, join us. And this is the part of the game Brian Anderson's been looking forward to all day, Kevin.
Yep.
And I know you've been looking forward to it.
Yeah, finally get to do some real work.
Man.
Hey, it's about time. We're getting close to a final roster. You made some pitching announcements earlier, and so we got a couple other things left, right?
Yeah, just 1 or 2 more things, but you know, today it's a really good day, and then it's a difficult day, because you're delivering a bunch of good messages, but then at the same time you're delivering some difficult ones where guys are going to get optioned or reassigned back to AAA. But I tell you what, I speak volumes about the way the guys handled themselves in those conversations. A lot of excitement, and then, you know, obviously for Ryan Yarbrough or Yanni Chirinos, first-time guys. Kittredge's first time, I think, breaking on an opening day roster. So those are fun conversations for all of us to have.
Ball in center field. Field coming in to make the catch on it. Romine is out of there.
Yeah, obviously a huge honor for those three young men. But as you look at the entire group, everybody that came into spring training, talk a little bit about the work ethic, the effort level of this group as you get ready to break camp.
It's been the best that I've seen in the 4 springs that I've been a part of this organization, and it rivals probably any spring training I've ever seen. I think a lot of that comes with the youth that we had in camp, but saying that, the guys were accountable, knowing getting their work in, and we kind of emphasized right out of the gate. Matt Cotaro and Rocco Baldelli did a really good job. We didn't want to bore you down with a bunch of boring, busy work. When we ask you to work, let's work hard and get off the field. And they did that, and I think it's paid dividends for us throughout spring training. The energy level has been kept up. So I really compliment the guys heading into opening day.
You know, that sounds great. Early in the spring with all the moves that were made, you know, there's a lot of conversation about all of that. But all of that kind of settled in then apparently, and it's turned out to be a positive experience.
Yeah, it was. And, you know, we talk about the youth, but we also have some veteran guys in here that were responsible in handling some difficult days where they lost some teammates. That's part of the game, part of the business. But we welcome some new ones in that we're excited to have. And I think, you know, just a little bit with the hectic of those 2 or 3 days there at the beginning, the guys rebounded really well. Didn't miss a beat as far as getting their work in and getting prepared to, you know, for the major league season.
A little roller to the right side off the bat of Torres. He's out second to first. And I guess Chris Archer, from everything we've heard, he said he's ready for opening day, and it appears everything's good in that area.
Yeah, he's fine. You know, obviously it's a scare anytime somebody of that magnitude gets hit by a comebacker. He came out of the game precautionary. I bet if we're in the season, Chris stays out there and pitches. But he had got his work pitch count up to 60. So he played catch today. He'll throw a bullpen tomorrow. He's totally fine for opening day with no limitations.
And Kevin, I know that you've been talking about this all at camp, the decision to go with the 4-man rotation, and then of course the bullpen day for at least the first month and a half of the season. When you look at that, talk a little bit about the buy-in of the pitchers that have to make this work.
A lot, and they got to be honest with us on how they can bounce back, especially those middle 4 guys that are going to provide length for us. But it came down to, we had a lot of guys in AAA that really did a nice job and kind of, we felt, had graduated for an opportunity to the big league level. And then also with all those off days. If we ran a 5-man rotation, we've said it 100 times, it would be 5, 6, 7 days off in between starts, and I don't think any starting pitcher wants to sign up for that.
Yeah, well, boy, you have to love what you've seen today out of Kittredge and now Yarborough, and we certainly appreciate the time you've spent with us today and all spring, and we look forward to opening day.
Me too, guys. Looking forward to seeing you guys. BA, I'm glad you could make it, man.
Thanks for the invite. I appreciate it.
All right. We go to the bottom of the 5th, 6-0 Rays. We head into the bottom of the 5th inning. Rays are facing the right-hander Adonis Rosa. He gave up the base hit in the 4th and then got the final out. The Rays added their 6th run in that inning. Parking at Tropicana Field is more efficient this year. Rays parking lots now accept only credit cards to speed up the parking process. Leave your cash in your wallet, swipe your credit card to park, and you can also purchase parking passes in advance at the box office and at a discount at RaysBaseball.com. Rays up. First pitch here in the bottom of the 5th is a strike. Malik Smith leading it off for the Rays, and there's a base hit. Lined right back into center. His second hit of the day. Gives him a 2 for 3 days so far.
Well, the Rays starters in this ball game getting an opportunity. Final game here in Charlotte County and taking advantage of it. Number of multi-hit days right there. Malik Smith with his speed using the middle of the field. That's always a good sign. Well, anytime you can get a guy with Malik's speed out there to lead off an inning, really opens up some doors offensively. You can see already paying close attention. A stolen base on the day.
Robertson chops this one foul. Daniel Robertson is 1 for 2 on the day. Rays got 5 runs off the starter Keller and 1 off Lale. Move to first, and back in is Smith. Chris Gittin is at first base, taking over for Austin here in the 5th inning.
Trying to catch Smith leaning right there, close.
That's a strike. 0-2. Robertson powers this one deep into left center field and out of here. Daniel Robertson connects for a 2-run blast. Robertson's second home run of the spring. He came to camp about 12 to 15 pounds lighter, but stronger. And boy, he took that pitch up and out of here.
It's a good combo. Lose some weight, gain some strength, and handle the hanging breaking ball. And that's what he did right there. That ball was shot out of a cannon. You can see that finish, powerful, strong finish, and the result.
Well, that's a good shot back into that direction. To the left of the center field batter's eye. Johnny Field bounces one foul. That was a shot indeed. And the Rays have collected their 3rd home run of the day. Field fouls it back. 0-2. Nobody out. 2 runs in. Field takes it too high. Rays have 8 runs, 12 hits. They've out-hit the Yankees 12-1 and lead 8-0. Two balls, 2 strikes. Yankees have Avellino at short now and Castillo at second. Field goes up the right side back toward the corner. That's going to be grabbed for the out. And that's the first out here in the bottom of the 5th. It gives Field 0 for 3. Well, Aguilar is in the game at 3rd, so a new infield arrangement here. Gray up here in the DH role, taking over in the 4th for Span. So this is the second at bat for Gray, and there's a blast into deep right field and way back off the facing of the office complex for a home run. Oh, what a blast and a half that was by Gray. And the Rays have hit their second home run of the inning. And now it's a 9-0 ball game.
I don't know if a fielder moved on that. 0-1 heater, down and into a lefty, always dangerous, and that ball was destroyed. Some token movement, but nothing of any consequences. It did some damage on the complex behind the right field wall.
Tristan Gray with a long home run. Well, that's impressive. Josh Lowe with a count of a ball and a strike, so 3 runs home in the inning. One. Gray just had her birthday 3 days ago. Here's a long drive to the opposite field, and that's going to get out. Lowe hits one out into the bullpen and left. And Josh Lowe has hit the 3rd home run of the inning for the Rays. Gray and Lowe go back to back in the 5th.
Boy, and all in their own way flash. You think about Robertson's, of course, the one we just saw, and then how about this? That ball looks like it was just sliced off the end of the bat and getting tremendous carry the opposite way. Continue to add on.
Seeing some of these young hitters flash some of the power. Ramos fouls it back. Josh Lowe's only 20 years old. He played at Bowling Green last year. Hit that home run out. And Gray, just before him, just turned 22. And hit one out to right. Ramos skies it to the right side, and that's out of play. A 2-strike count.
What's the Larry David photo doing next to the lineup card?
It's for inspiration. And who wouldn't be?
It's a good look. How do you let that picture be taken?
Here's Ramos hitting one deep to left field at the track for this one, and it's hauled in. So a long drive by Ramos, and that's out number 2.
I think you got to go back to the photo, and you say to yourself with that photo, if there aren't letters and numbers like right underneath your chin, there's no reason that that picture should have ever been taken. Really, I mean, if that's not a mugshot, you have to say no.
Yeah, you know, that's kind of a combination of Larry David and Larry Fine from the Three Stooges.
Larry McCabe?
No, Larry Fine.
Larry Fine.
And Larry David, or, you know, but you see that? He's got Larry Fine's hair and then Larry David. What a right next to the lineup card.
If that doesn't get you going, I don't know what
Nothing
will.
One ball, 1 strike. That's fouled out of play. So it's 1-2. Chopper foul. So 1-2 on Crone. A 3 home run inning and 4 runs home in the inning. The Rays have a 10-0 lead. Cut right there. Boy, you had a pitch. You'd love to see that one again.
Boy, the eyes get big. The fastball's elevated. which, by the way, is one of the reasons that pitch has become so effective when you start to talk about spin rate and elevated fastballs. Not this time.
Up back of first. That's caught by Gittens to retire the side. But the Rays hit 3 out. Daniel Robertson, these were long home runs. Robertson to the left of the batter's eye. Christian Gray hit one deep to right, and Josh Lowe out of here to left. The Rays on top. They've out hit New York 14-1. Let's check in again with Michelle Margot. Michelle?
Thanks, Dwayne. Here with hitting coach Chad Mottola. Chad, you've got to be happy after that inning.
Yes, you picked a good day to come talk to me. It's been a fun day for sure.
What type of lineup can we see in 2018?
We're going to see a little more speed, a little more contact, maybe moving the ball around the infield. Last year we relied on the home run a lot more. This year we're going to rely on contact more.
This will be your second full season as hitting coach. What did you learn from your first full season last year that you can apply to this season?
Last year we were going good the first half, and then we all kind of hit a wall in August. So we've been a little smarter this spring, kind of curtail the workload and be a little more quality rather than quantity.
From a hitting perspective, who excites you the most right now?
The young kids that just did that. Yeah, that's good to see. Like I said, it's going to be a lot more fun, a little more length in the at-bats, the lineups. There's not going to be such quick innings this year.
Now, if there's one thing that you want to ingrain in your hitters before the regular season starts, what is that?
Well, each guy's different. That's what's nice. It's all coming together. Each guy's been working on different things. Some days we're just looking at seeing pitches. Now it's a little more game-like. We're trying to go into the season ready.
Thank you so much for your time.
All right, great talking to you.
Dwayne, back to you.
All right, thank you. Robinson chops it to short. He's out of there. Rays bring on the right-hander. Their third pitcher. Kittredge started. Yarborough worked 2 1/3, and now Yanni Chirinos takes over and throws a chopping ground ball.
Like tremendous numbers at Durham. That record, 12-5 ERA, 2.74. Another one of those Rays pitchers figuring prominently coming out of that bullpen with length.
Yeah, and I love that that sinker. It's a heavy sinker.
Well, you think about the leverage that he creates right out of the gate with his height. Big guy. And then you're working downhill with late sinking action on the fastball. That can be devastating if it's located.
A roller to short. And it gets away. So a couple of ground balls, and that's what Chirinos does, is throw ground balls. But this one yields a base runner on the error.
Well, this is where the mindset of Chirinos is just go get another one, because that right there, a pretty standard routine ground ball that got away. The good thing about a guy with a good sinker, you're just one pitch away from getting those 2 quick outs, getting out of situations like this.
Castillo, the second baseman. It's fouled back, and the count is 0-2. Jermaine Palacios, the shortstop, charged with that error. He came over from Minnesota in the Odorizzi deal.
How about
the ball, 2 strikes.
Jake Odorizzi is going to get the opening day start.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
How about
Saw
that? Pretty big acquisition then for Minnesota. Team with postseason aspirations after getting there a year ago.
A reach and a miss. Castillo is out on strikes. Boy, you can see that action down.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you talk about a sinker slider and moving the ball around and getting a hitter off balance, and that's exactly what Chirinos did. Just swing here, everything out of whack, waving at that ball down and away.
Jeff Hendricks hits it on the ground to third. Padlow up with it. Throw to first, so ground ball after ground ball. And the man left. He reached on the error. We go to the bottom of the 6th, 10-0. At this point, 14-1. Rays baseball from spring training. Always live with MLB At Bat. The app keeps you connected every day with live radio calls, video highlights, stats, breaking news, and more. Download MLB At Bat now. It's your #1 Rays app. Oh, Rosa worked an inning and a third. Trevor Lane takes over for him.
Well, more than a strikeout an inning a year ago in the minor leagues. 69 and 65 and a third. Opponent's average of 209. Very good. How about just the 1 home run? 1 home run given up. I don't care what level that you're pitching at. That is extremely impressive. Good ERA, good numbers all around for Trevor.
Well, Padlow's going to lead it off against the left-hander. The pitch is down. Well, the Rays scored 4 runs off Rosa. All coming in the 5th on 3 home runs. So 5 runs off Keller, a run off Leal, and 4 off Rosa. That's a strike, 1 and 2. Right down and in. A swing and a miss. Hedlow out on strikes.
I see on the backswing right there, that helmet coming into contact. The bat, excuse me, coming into contact with the helmet. Boy, everybody now start to talk about head trauma and concussions with catchers and even all the other sports out there. Everybody much more aware and tuned in to those types of events.
Jermaine Palacio up here takes the pitch down. Sends a high fly ball back into deep left field, and this one will get out of here. I mean, get out of here. So the young infielder hits one out. Another home run for the Rays, their 6th of the day. And so Palacio joins the home run barrage.
Yeah, there have been some mammoth blasts here today. That ball hanging right up and out over the plate, and you think you knew it.
Yeah, that's impressive right there. And now Malik Smith. That's one way to make people forget about that little error in the top of the 6th. You just come up and hit a home run out of sight. That's exactly what he did. Counts 2-0 on Malik's. Well, the Rays now have 15 hits. Picks up the zone, 2-1. Five runs off Keller, 1 off Lale, 4 off Rosa, and now 1 off Lane. 11 runs. Full count. Gomez and Echeverria homered back in the 3rd. Robertson, Gray, and Lowe in the 5th. Palacio here in the 6th. And ball 4. Alex Smith is on for the 3rd time.
Yeah, I thought that Michelle's interview with Chad Mottola was pretty interesting. First of all, he gets right to the point.
Yep.
I probably should sit down and talk to him about how he does that, number one. But number two, how about the fact that he said, you know, last year we relied on the home run an awful lot, and this year we're going to rely more on moving the baseball around and making no bones about they need to improve in the run creation category.
Robertson fouling it back, strike 1. Yeah, you think last year all those home runs and all the solo home runs. I mean, you need men on base, and the Rays had an issue with that.
Yeah, they were 14th in the American League in runs while setting a franchise record in home runs.
Yep.
Did not do a very good job with runners in scoring position. Did not create that many opportunities with runners in scoring position.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Two and 2. That's going to allow Smith to head up to second base as that pitch brings down and in and skipped by the catcher, Sayas. So a wild pitch allows the runner to move up. Robertson out on strikes on that one. Second strikeout of the inning for Lane after giving up a home run and a walk. He strikes out Robertson. And now Johnny Field, who started the day in center and last inning moved over to right field. Field 0 for 3. Well, the Rays opened the day needing to settle some positions in the bullpen, and they've done that. An extra outfielder. The other issue that's to this point not yet settled. Field was potentially part of that mix.
They got Brandon Snyder.
I think the options would be Snyder, Field, or going outside the organization.
And you keep hearing Peter Borges and a possible reunion if things do not work out for him with Chicago. And if he is cut free, then you absolutely could see the organization, the familiarity with him as a player, as a person, what he brings to the clubhouse, the way that he can handle the bat, good speed, good glove. You could definitely see that happening.
Pitch in on him, popped up. Right side. It's just fair. Caught there by Gittins, and that retires the side. Palacios with a home run here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Jermaine belting one out to left. And the Rays continue to pound the baseball, 11-0. Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers. A big offensive day for the Rays. They've hit 6 home runs and have built an 11-0 lead. We go to the 7th. Chris Gittins will lead it off against Yanni Chirinos. This pitch moves him back. Strike on the corner. It's 2-1. Dalton Kelly is in the game for the Rays at first base, replacing C.J. Cron. 2-2. And that will be strike 3. So Gittens is out of there. Well, the Rays opening day just around the corner, and that means opening against the Red Sox and then hitting the road, going to New York and Boston and Chicago. And here's how that opening month will break out. The Rays home for just that one series before going to New York. Few days off there you can see scattered through that first month of the season.
Yeah, that first trip, you know, you're going to get the home opener for the New York Yankees. You're going to get the home opener for the Boston Red Sox. Have you ever had a Friday off day before?
You know, I can't recall that we have in this game. I mean, it almost seems impossible.
Yeah.
But just to protect the home opener up there for the Red Sox. Trey Ambergy is up here. His first at bat. McKinney originally occupied this spot. And a 2-1 count. What are you going to do with all that time available early in the season?
You know what? Just brush up on all the future teams that we'll be playing.
Yeah, a lot of homework.
Putting together the dossiers. Make us sound like we know what we're talking about up here.
Yeah. Production meetings, minor league reports.
Yep. Yeah.
Yes.
There you go. There you go. That's true. You're going to have to
pay more attention to the minor leagues this year with this pitching arrangement.
Yep. Yeah, you really are.
Yep.
I think that's going to be something that's fascinating to watch unfold.
Yeah, I do. I think it's going to be fun, as much as people have talked about. Can it work? How strange can that be? There's a great stop by Palacios, but no play. He got to that ball in the hole deep. You can see a couple of steps into the outfield. There's a base hit. We'll take a look at that range at shortstop.
Well, he gets a great jump, and then the long dive. Not an easy play to make, and obviously can't make the throw, but certainly the effort was acknowledged by the crowd here.
Yeah, you know, this is the first time we've seen him. Made a little error, but you kind of like that range right there. You like the power.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
Wow. The chop to the right side. The play is going to be to first. He heads up to second base.
Yeah, even the bounce back.
Yeah.
You know, you get traded for the Rays, you know, number two or three starter, and getting an opportunity here this afternoon, and that ground ball that the air was committed on was as routine as you're going to get, and instead of letting that affect his game at all, he just turns around, pops one out of the yard, and makes a tremendous diving play in the hole. And you like that mental toughness.
Well, 2 outs with the runner at second. Here's Avellino, the shortstop.
That's the thing about this game. You know, not only are you know, it's a game built on failure, at least from the hitting standpoint. You know, you fail 70% of the time. We've all heard the cliches. But you're going to make errors. Mistakes are going to be made. And if you are not mentally tough and you've got thin skin, you will not make it in this game. You just won't. And so you've got to be able to bounce back on the fly. And so you make that error and you say, hey, you know what? That's part of it. It's over and done with. Nothing I can do about it. I'll get the next one.
Yep. Get a home run out of sight. Show some great range. Nobody remembers.
Just be a plus player. Go ahead and let in one, drive in two. I played with guys like that.
1 and 2. Yep. Sometimes you like them better than other times. But as long as they could drive in 2 for every one.
Yes, that one that you gave up when I'm standing out there, which, by the way, I needed help.
Yeah.
I needed help. Didn't need to have...
We all need each other.
Yep. It takes a village, Dwayne, to win a championship.
It does.
It takes a village.
I'm writing that down right now.
You'll be writing a book someday.
A ball, 2 strikes, the count to Avellino. Missed all this during the offseason.
No, you didn't. Let's be honest. No, you did not.
Nice stop there by Ramos, and the count is 2-2. Calls into Cleveland. Phone would just ring and ring and ring.
That's because Gary was over. Director.
I know, director. I saw that.
Swing by.
Photographic evidence that he was there.
A couple of pop-ins.
My son's there finishing up. Yeah.
Ground ball headed to short.
Yeah.
Up and out. The strike out at first. And that's going to retire the side. No runs, a hit, and the man left. Middle of the 7th. 11-0 Tampa Bay. Lead the New York Yankees, moving on to the bottom of the 7th inning. And let's call in Neil Solondz here. Neil, how are you?
Good, Dwayne. Thanks very much for having me on the broadcast today. We're with the Senior Vice President of the Rays on the baseball operations side, and Chaim Bloom. And really, you've got the present and the future on display today. Chaim, starting with 2 big prospects who are going to be on your opening day roster, Ryan Yarbrough and Yanni Chirinos.
Yeah, both of these guys, you know, obviously we told them they made the club today, and those were some fun conversations. These guys really have been less heralded throughout their minor league careers, but we think really highly of both of them. Both guys, very composed, tremendous off-speed stuff, deceptive deliveries that allow their stuff to play up. We're big fans of both.
Well, you got the present future and the future with the kids hitting home runs today. Josh Lowe, Tristan Gray, and Palacios, who you just got from the Twins.
Yeah, those guys made it easy to talk about them today. All 3 of them hitting some pretty impressive home runs, and we like those guys as well. Gray, obviously, we got in the deal with Pittsburgh, you know, for Corey Dickerson, a young kid who has a very nice swing, very advanced offensive approach, can play all over the infield. Been really impressed by him in this short look. You know, Josh Lowe, this guy has taken his lumps as a high school draft, but is really coming out of it. His tools are tremendous. His ceiling is really, really high with this guy. You saw the power to the opposite field there. And finally, Palacios, who has that power is something that he's started to come into more recently in his career. We really like him at shortstop. Love the arm, love the way he plays the position. So we've been really happy with our first look at him as well.
And we're getting a look at Tristan Gray at the plate right now. This is your 14th year with the Rays. Is this as deep as the farm system has been?
I think so. It's hard to remember a time just thinking about our minor league rosters when we've been able to look around. Pretty much everybody on a roster has some kind of prospect status, obviously some more than others, but that depth is so important because, you know, you build that depth up. You have guys that will come from you know, kind of unexpected places in our system to take steps forward and become big leaguers. And in order to have that, we need as much depth as possible. So we definitely have our work cut out for us, making decisions on where these kids will go. It's a really good problem to have.
Chaim, thank you very much.
Thank you, Neil.
That's the Rays Senior Vice President, Chaim Bloom. Dwayne, B.A., we go back to you as Tristan Gray, who's just retired.
All right, thank you, Neil. And cutting the miss, Gray is out of there on strikes, facing Espinal. So Still one away. Well, there's no question about what's happened down below with the Rays minor league system. I think around the game it's recognized that it has moved in the right direction.
Let's go, Josh.
Lowe takes a strike.
Well, yeah, a couple of seasons ago, it wasn't on anybody's radar, but they have continued to build the minor leagues up, build the farm system up. That's how a franchise like the Rays is going to be able to sustain itself, as it needs those reinforcements coming in mass.
Yep.
A big wave, and it seems that you're starting to knock on the door of seeing that next wave come in and take this team to the next level.
Yeah, and you could hear Heim when he's talking about the Palacios there. As much as you like his bat, they like what they see at shortstop, and you can understand that.
Yeah. Well, listen, he made the tremendous dive into the gap, or into the hole at deep short. And obviously didn't have time to make a throw, but you saw the athleticism in getting to that ball. And even the ground ball where he retired the hitter to end the inning, just how smooth he is. That's what really stands out with these young kids that can handle the glove, is just how smooth they are. Quick releases, strong arm across the infield. And still, learning his craft, and has a long way to go and a lot more instruction and experience to garner. But I'd be excited about him too.
Good eye.
And there's a walk drawn by Lowe. One out pass. So the Rays get a base runner. They've had a lot of those.
So there's no run rule in spring training. I thought that was a pace of play deal for the early part of the season.
Yeah, run rule. Well, there you are. Mac James gets a chance. Well, we should put that on the list and bring it up.
Guys do need to get their work in, and the Rays certainly doing that here offensively. And they've obviously thrown the ball very well too. You think about the guys in this game that were informed today that they were going to make the ball club, and they have gone out and delivered.
Foul back, 0-2.
The last thing you want to do is be told that you've made the team and then go out and lay an egg. The worst thing that you could do, at least for your own mind, and these guys have come out and they have thrown the ball extremely well.
Never. That is true. I never have. Sad, I know. Yeah.
Ooh, strike 3 out there on the corner. And that's out number 2 here in the 7th inning. Low at first. Dalton Kelly will get his first plate appearance. DJ Crone started at first today, had a single and a double in 4 at-bats and a run scored. Pitch is in there for a strike. It's a 1-1 count.
Low. Josh Low. Instead of Rob Low.
One. Well, the Rays scored 5 off starting pitcher Keller.
Yeah.
1 against Lale, 4 against Rosa, and 1 off Lane. Facing Espinal now with a man at first and 2 gone.
That. Yeah. Yes.
On the outside corner, 2-2. And a strike on the corner. So 3 strikeouts in the inning. The last 2 called third strikes. We head into the 8th. It's 11-0 Tampa Bay.
I think it's time to retire.
A reminder, the Tampa Bay Rays 2018 season preview hosted by Michelle Margot brings fans onto the field and into the dugout with player interviews, Grapefruit League action, and in-depth analysis. So stay tuned for the premiere at the conclusion of today's game right here on Fox Sports Sun. On to the 8th we go. It has been a big offensive day for the Rays and pretty good on the mound as well. And we're happy to have Dave Wills from Rays Radio join us. We've, well, we had Andy a week or so ago. We had Neil sitting down with Chaim Bloom earlier. And
I guess we went alphabetically. So
that's it. So here you are. Chirinos delivers a little ground ball to short. Pachios takes care of that. One pitch and one out in the 8th. Well, here we are closing out another spring training, and as fun as it is, about this time you get ready and anxious for opening day.
Well, I think it's more fun for the guys out on the boardwalk, as we saw coming back from the break. But you know, these are interesting games. You get a chance to see some players that we've heard about, you know, over the last couple of years, either by being drafted or down in the minor leagues. But I'm excited. I'm excited for some of the young pitchers, especially two of them that we've seen today, and Ryan Yarbrough and Yanni Chirinos. I think they both have earned their promotions to the big leagues, and it is going to be an interesting thought process on how the Rays are going to try and divide outs among 4+ starters with that whole bullpen by committee starting nod thing. But at the end of the day, I think we are getting back to what put batters up on the wall in 08, 10, 11, and 13, and that's a little more of the run prevention formula, even though, as I said today coming into the broadcast, Rays aren't going to hit many home runs. They're going to have to find new ways to score, and then lo and behold, we hit a half dozen homers today.
Wait, one of those games. I mean, this team is going to be capable of knocking the ball out of the ballpark, but we were, you know, fortunate enough to have Chad Mottola on earlier in this telecast, and he was saying, listen, last year we relied on the home run. This year we're going to rely more on moving the ball around the infield, moving runners, a little bit more speed.
Well, like the first inning, you got the guy over, you got the guy on, he got over, and then you got him in, and I said that's going to be more of Rays baseball. And then 10 runs later, 6 home runs have cleared the fences. So shows you what we know.
It's good to have a multi-faceted offense, and the Rays showing a little bit of that today. New pitcher, and we'll be back with him in a moment. The top of the 8th inning, Dave Wills joining us in the booth here in the 8th, and it's been quite a day. We talked about how this club hopes to manufacture runs, and here they are hitting home runs, and now we're going to get a look at Johnny Venters. He's been an interesting guy, trying to battle his way back, one of those great stories in baseball, and boy, you just hope that somewhere along the trail, even if it's not with the Rays, that he makes it back and has some success.
I think, you know, the fact that he has not been sent out yet, the Rays are really still taking a long look at the possibility of him pitching for this team. But I mean, you know, BA, you know it. I mean, this guy's had 3.5 Tommy Johns. I mean, to try and come back from 1 is incredible. 2 is almost impossible. Now this guy's trying to come back from 3.5, and he's not the 95 to 98 guy that he once was, but you're still seeing a guy that, like I like to say, kind of like what Dan Wheeler brought to the table for us back in 07 and 08. A guy that has been there and done that, which can only help some of the young bullpen guys that we'll have out there.
Yeah, and these 3 pitches right here are pretty sharp from Johnny Venters. Listen, having had that surgery and him coming back from now 3, incredible. Good sequence there.
day for the Rays. 11 runs, 15 hits, 6 home runs. Been pretty good on the mound as well with Kittredge, Yarbrough, Chirinos, and Venters coming on. And we're headed into the bottom of the 8th inning. Andrew Schwab will be the new pitcher for the New York Ball Club. Well, we haven't seen, fellas, the full force Yankee attack today. And as B.A. and I talked, Dave, earlier, we figure going in, the Yankees are the favorite for the way they've reloaded. Of course, the Red Sox, you've got to unseat them. But it's going to be interesting in trying to figure out where the Rays settle in. You know, you hear people all over the board on the Rays, wherever they settle. And I think there's potential for good things here, and then there's potential the other way as well. But it's going to be interesting. And part of what you were talking about, manufacturing runs, getting back to that, I think makes the game way more interesting than hitting home runs with nobody on base and striking out a lot.
Well, we've seen guys, again, going from first to third a lot more this spring. Yesterday, Wilson Ramos went from first to home on a double. I mean, that wasn't going to happen last year. He was running and moving around a lot better. He's not a burner, but those are the things that this team is going to have to do if they are going to score enough runs to try and compete with the big boys. And I think, we had the meeting earlier in the week where I think somebody from the front office said it right. I think there are 4 elite teams in the American League. It's the Yankees, Red Sox, Indians, and Astros. And then I think we're in that mix of maybe 4 or 5 teams that are going to battle it out for the 5th spot in the postseason. With that being said, I agree, Dwayne, with what you said. I've been telling everybody all off season long after some of the moves, I'm not going to go out and buy a shirt that says we're not going to be as bad as people think. I mean, I don't think that's a great marketing ploy. But I also think that this team can be in that 75 to 80 win range, and if things break right, can get 80, 85. But if things break wrong, could be down in that 65 to 70 win range as well. As you said, they're all over the place.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely right. And you get some of the experts, from the analytics, they say, well, this team could win 84. And then you get some people, out west and go, well, the over and under is 77.
Yeah,
so somewhere in there. But if you get into that area and you play fundamentally good baseball, and if you're capable of stopping an offense with good pitching and you catch the ball and you can manufacture a run or two, that makes for potentially a really exciting situation.
Kind of like what we had in 08 for a little while. I mean, a team that, you talk to the other teams, BA, and they'd say, you never know what the Rays are going to do. Are they going to steal? Are they going to bunt? Are they going to bunt and run, hit and run? I think Kevin Cash would like to get back to some of that with some of the athleticism that this team has acquired over the past few years and put back onto the bases, as opposed to where we were these last couple of years, Dwayne, of kind of waiting around for the home run, station to station, and that can get kind of, on good days it's great, but could be rather boring in a lot of others.
Yeah, and I think there's no question about that. A return to the style of baseball that got this club here. You're not forsaking the long ball. You need the power, but the ability to get on base and to take the extra base and build an inning is what you're looking for.
Yeah, and I think the tanking narrative that the national media kind of tagged on the Rays because of what's happening a little further south with the Marlins couldn't have been further from the truth. I mean, at the end of the day, I think our payroll on opening day 2018 is higher than payroll 2017. So there's a lot of things that people are going to be should be excited about this young team.
Well, as soon as Evan Longoria gets traded, that's where that narrative popped up. But going back to talking about the structure of this team, what's going to be fascinating is the questions are everywhere on this team. What will this offense look like when the season starts and push comes to shove? Will they be able to move the ball, manufacture some runs, use their speed? What is the pitching staff going to look like? And not only just with the 4-man rotation and the bullpen day, but Nathan Eovaldi. He's been off for quite a while. How is he going to hold up? Jake Faria is going to get an opportunity for a full big league season. Is Blake Snell going to continue his resurgence, not resurgence, but really the renaissance that he went through the second half of last season? Certainly looks the part here this spring training. And how in the world will that bullpen look? The last 2 months of the season last year, the Rays had the #1 bullpen in Major League Baseball. And all of a sudden you lose your 7-inning guy in Cishek and Hunter, and you're down to Colomane. You're trying to piece it together at that back end, Alvarado being a big part of that. What is that going to look like? But when you look at every single area of this team, there are question marks, and that's what's going to be so fascinating to watch unfold here in 4 or 5 days.
As they say, that's why we play the games, and that's why people hopefully will be tuning in on both TV and radio to find out. And I'm excited. I can't wait for this to get started on Thursday afternoon.
It's a little wide right there. A couple of strikeouts of Padlo and Palacios here from Schwab. Yeah, well, apparently we have nothing to talk about because that's all we've done while those strikeouts have occurred. But I'm very interested. Oh, there's a nice little chopper into center field, and Alex Smith is on for the 4th time today.
I think this guy right there, Alex Smith, is going to be an interesting cat to watch as well, because the thing that we talked about, you going back to the days of BJ and Carl and a few of the other guys, Jason Bartlett, where there was that maybe not necessarily going to be a big stolen base guy, but just the threat to steal is there, which will adjust what the pitcher might give to the next guy, or maybe, you know, force the defense to do something a little bit differently than they would with a guy that's not so quick. So Malik's, I know we talked a lot about the Malik's effect last year. He can be kind of an interesting guy to watch offensively for the Rays, but his defensive game has to improve. His defensive game last year was definitely not where it needs to be for a guy that if the Rays want to have him out there on a daily basis in the outfield somewhere.
Daniel Robertson chops it foul back a third. 0-2 with Malik Smith at first. And Smith will tell you that. He knows that. Even his base running, and B and I talked about a little bit earlier, he's got great speed, but from a technique point of view, there are things that he'd like to improve upon, clean up a little bit, because he could, because of that speed, be a force on the bases and defensively.
Yeah, the foot slide back to first base on pickoffs, that was pretty impressive.
And dangerous.
Kind of interesting. No, you know, and this Daniel Robertson is another guy. I mean, here's a guy that's going to be able to fill in at any one of the 3 defensive positions, and I don't think you're going to have a step down, even with as good as a Danny Echeverria as a shortstop. Daniel Robertson at times might have been our best defensive infielder last year, even though Evan got a Gold Glove. But thanks for having me, guys.
Out on strikes here. We're through 8, and it's been fun.
Hey, appreciate it.
Yeah,
See you.
Hey, we'll crank it up. 4 days. It's for real. Thanks, Dave. It's 11-0. Jose Alvarado is going to be the new pitcher. And a reminder, just 4 days away, Rays and the Red Sox opening day at Tropicana Field. Our coverage will begin at 3 o'clock right here on Fox Sports Sun. So a lot of pregame coverage. We'll see you on Thursday leading up to the first pitch of the regular season. So wall-to-wall coverage from Tropicana Field before the Rays and the Red Sox square off.
No hope for me. It's too late for us.
There's a rumor going around out there, Dwayne, that you may be making an appearance in the pregame show.
I've heard that about you.
Oh, no.
Archival footage, I think.
Was that with hair, with beard?
Oh, man. Another year. 4 days away, guys. Here's Alvarado on the first pitch. Swung on. Castillo rips it back into left center field. picked up by Lowe at the base of the stands out there. Castillo not wasting any time, jumping on the first delivery. That's hit number 3 for New York.
Yeah, limited offensively here today, but Jose Alvarado, he's got a big arm, a good fastball, put away slider, and so you're going to see that an awful lot. Opposing hitters not wasting any time, not wanting to get into a deep count with Alvarado.
Jeff Hendricks took over in center field from Hicks, 0 for 1 on the day so far with a ground ball to the third base side. A little bit wide right there. 2 2/3 from Andrew Kittredge today. No runs, 1 hit, 3 strikeouts. Ryan Yarbrough, the lefty, 2 1/3 with 4 strikeouts. Yanni Chirinos, 2 2/3. A scoreless baseball. Fenders came on, made 3 pitches to pick up a strikeout. And now Alvarado. A 1-1 count to Hendricks. That's on the corner. Rays with 11 runs, 16 hits today. 3-0 for New York. Rays with 11 runs, they've left 9 men on base. Could have been worse.
It's been a busy day offensively. A lot of action, a lot of movement.
That's a strike, and Hendricks is out of there.
I'll tell you what, Alvarado making Hendricks aware of the pitches away, and so knowing that he's going to have to go out there and try to get it, ties him up in, and he's just not able to pull the trigger in a meaningful way. That's what Alvarado can do. Come in and overpower hitters.
And the chopper headed towards short. A nice pickup by Palacios. Throw to first, and that's a good play to get Gittins. Over to third goes Castillo.
Do you get the feeling that he's starting to get the feel out there? I mean, the body language after that initial opening air, he has been stellar.
You know, the initial reaction on that deal was, what did they get for Odorizzi? I'm glad we had a chance to see him today.
Yep.
Because you understand what they got for him. It's pretty good looking player right here.
There's plenty to build around. We're seeing it, the smoothness out in the field, good glove work for the most part, and obviously showing off some power.
Pitch is upstairs. 1 ball, no strikes.
Yeah. No, I agree. It doesn't sound like it.
And a strike called. It's 1-1. Trey Ambergy up here. He had a base hit in the 7th inning. Blocked by Mack.
Nice block, nice block.
And a nice block too. You hear he said to Mack, run around third base. Game well in hand, but always looking to impress, always looking to make the next play.
Not getting any better either.
It takes 7 years when you're a college, seriously. What did I do to
Ground ball, there's a base hit through the hole, and that will score Castillo, and the Yankees pick up their first run. So it's 11-1.
Well, and it makes sense too, Dwayne. Number 56, and where does he find? He finds the 5-6 hole. We talked about it a lot today, and he finds it for the first run.
Well, Duffy singled through that hole in the first. The Yankees get their first run in the 9th between short and third. The catcher, Saez.
I have officially, and this is probably 2-3 innings ago, but I've officially quit the scorebook. That thing's not very good during the season, but a series of double ear flap helmets come in, and
that's it. That's the sign.
I'm tapping out.
Alvarado trying to end this thing with the Rays up 11-1. Rays trying to win their 14th game of the spring. And this is down and is behind 3-0.
Oh, stop it.
My boss said that one time.
Don't it? That's terrible.
I'm like, it's not even remotely true.
That's a big question.
Alvarado, the 5th Rays pitcher. He'll get a strike out of that one. 3-1.
Yeah, that could have been 95. That's center. How's your hand, 72? How's that feel?
Well, there's ball 4, so 2 men on. 2 on, 2 outs, a run home in the 9th inning. Alvarado will face Avellino, the shortstop. And he gets a meeting. So James Mack, the catcher, out there. That's a trip to the mound. So here's Avellino. And that's a cut and a miss. Alvarado with that high octane fastball. You can push 100 at times. Pretty close right there. And it's 1-1.
And then you have the breaking ball on top of that.
Yep.
Certainly the stuff is there. It's always been a question of, can you command it enough to be in the zone when you need to be in the zone for coming in late in games? And he has shown the ability to be able to do that.
There you go. That one in there. 1-2.
And we've really seen him make a lot of strides from the first time that we saw him in a Rays uniform until this camp. He's really come a long way with that command and earning more and more the trust of Kevin Cash.
Down to first. That'll be grabbed by Kelly. And a step on the bag to end this one. It's an 11-1 final. Couple men left on base in the 9th inning for the New York Yankees. And the Rays defeat New York today 11-1. 4 days for opening day. The Rays will meet the Red Sox at Tropicana Field. Our coverage begins at 3 o'clock. For Brian Anderson and Michelle Margot and a cast of characters today, Dwayne Stats. Hope you've enjoyed the telecast. Looking forward to opening day on Thursday. From Port Charlotte, so long, everyone.